Good evening, AP Lang parents. Mr. Pruder here. Wanted to catch you up a little bit on what's been going on in AP Lang, as well as share a little bit of exciting news with you all, and of course, sharing what that means for our students as we move forward. As I included in the email, my wife and I are expecting our first child, which is really exciting. And so I will be leaving for paternity leave soon. And I wanted to take just a few moments to detail kind of what that's going to look like. A really quick history. The baby is doing really well. Mom's doing really well. The only issue is that the baby has not flipped yet. And so because of that, even though the baby's incredibly healthy, we do have a C-section scheduled. Now, kind of the silver lining to that is we actually have an actual date to work around a little bit, which has been kind of nice and comforting for us in some ways. And in a totally objective way, it's kind of nice just for this in terms of actually doing a little bit of planning. So I wanted to show you what the next few weeks look like for me personally and what that means for your kids. We'll work through that a little bit. So I'm sorry that this is a little bit of a messy calendar, but here at least you can kind of check out what things are looking like. So today is October 12th. I am teaching in person today and tomorrow, just so I can meet a few students and see some familiar faces, even though they are through masks. Wednesday, we don't have class anyway. That is SAT for our seniors, PSAT for our juniors. Starting Thursday, I'm going to begin remote teaching. Now, the good news is we've already worked through all of these kinks. We've been remote teaching for these previous 5 weeks. And so really things are going to look and feel like they already have been for your students. I'm going to continue being in front of the camera. Your students will continue being in front of the camera at home, or on their day when they come in, there will be someone with them just simply to answer questions, make sure there are no classroom issues. I'm sure there wouldn't be. Let kids go to the bathroom, like all of those things, as well as do some sanitizing. But as far as class is concerned, nothing's really going to change for Thursday or Friday this week or into next week. I will be remote teaching. We are going to be conferencing on our essays. Essays are due by the end of the week that they're working on right now. And so really nothing changes for that. The only difference is I'm not physically at my desk. And so instead of kids seeing a whiteboard behind me, they're seeing my bookshelf. That's about it. Nothing is changing for Thursday or Friday. That's actually going to carry over into next week as well for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We're going to get set up with what our next stage is in AP Lang, which I promised to give you some details on. So again, I'll be here either in my living room or I'll be in an office, but I won't physically be in the building. But since we've already been working on the remote teaching and remote learning, it's really not going to feel like that big of a divergent for our students. So that's a good thing. The 22nd is our big day. So unless that baby flips or unless my wife goes into labor a little bit early, the 22nd is the big day. So as you can see with these arrows, I'm going to be out for 3 weeks plus 2 days with the Thursday and Friday of next week. And I promise to go over in detail what those days are going to be looking like. I do want to draw your attention, though, to the 7 class periods leading into Thanksgiving. So after I take those 3 weeks of paternity leave, which are going to be incredibly important, 1, because of the baby, and 2, because my wife is going to be recovering, I am going to be coming back for remote teaching for 7 days leading into Thanksgiving. So that's going to be kind of an easing back in of sorts for me, but also for the students, that I will be back. I will be running class. It'll be a chance to catch up and clean up anything from those last 3 weeks and put us on really solid footing for Thanksgiving. After Thanksgiving, I'll be back in the classroom, kind of as scheduled. But you'll notice that the blue section that kind of sandwiches the baby being born and my paternity leave are times in which I'm going to be teaching again remotely. And I'm really thankful to the administration who's been flexible with me and willing to do that. In short, if I were to test positive for COVID-19, even if I was asymptomatic, I can't be in that delivery room. And I need to be in that delivery room. So I'm really thankful that starting Wednesday, they're allowing me to stay home, give myself a full week to make sure that I'm safe, my wife is safe, the baby's safe, all of those things, so I can be there on the 22nd. So here's what the schedule looks like. As I said, 3 weeks plus 2 days for paternity leave, with a little bit of remote teaching on each side, 5 days leading into it, but really 7 class periods, 2 in person, 5 remote teaching, before I leave, and then 7 class periods in between leaving paternity leave and Thanksgiving break. And so I'm excited to have that opportunity. So with that in mind, I appreciate all the excitement, but I also realize that there's going to be some question of, okay, so what are students working on while you're away and who's going to be in class with them? In truth, it's been a little bit of a struggle to find people who want to be in the building during the pandemic. Normally, we make sure that we seek out someone who has an ELA background. We are working towards that. We are hopeful that will still happen. But even if that doesn't, and there is an adult in the room, but doesn't necessarily have the skill set to be teaching an AP level composition class, fear not. I have already started working on some things, and I want to tell you about what we've already done to get your students set up, as well as what they can start working on and what I have in place to help support them. So here's the continuing work. Throughout the summer, your students were working on their notebook work, and we've added in now the idea of having an AP Lang style argument question as the driving force for our notebooks from here on forward. They're going to continue working on that. So it's something they've already done, but now we've added in new elements this year. They're just going to put those together and continue that work. So that's going to be continuing work for them. In addition, we're going to continue some work with rhetorical analysis. Now, if your student is looking over your shoulder right now, they're going to say, we have not started rhetorical analysis yet. Not so fast. Here's why I say that. Rhetorical analysis often kind of comes with some negative connotations. Students usually are like, it's not that fun, it's not that interesting. But what have we been doing for the last few weeks? We've been reading really interesting essays, and we've been examining how the writers have structured those and why they structured them in those particular ways, how that lent certain moves to the logical structure that writers are using to craft stronger arguments. That's rhetorical analysis. We're just not calling it rhetorical analysis, but it's almost like we've been studying their rhetorical choices and analyzing them. So we've actually been doing this work. We just haven't been calling it traditional rhetorical analysis. So you'll notice as we look at the new work, that second bullet point says adding new elements to rhetorical analysis. So we're going to go ahead and take what we've already been doing, reading like writers, checking out what writers are doing and why, analyzing those choices, and we're going to go ahead and just kind of try and make those a little bit more formal for what a rhetorical analysis essay might look like. But while we haven't written that essay yet, we've actually been working on those skills throughout. Plus, as we start talking about writing an actual rhetorical analysis essay, I've already started to create resources, videos, edu-puzzles, things that will be up on Google Classroom that students can access. And no, students will not be asked to submit a rhetorical analysis until I come back and we have a chance to conference. So they are not flying blind on any of that. In addition, what else will students be working on? I want to start blending in a little bit of work with our multiple choice work that's going to be a part of the exam as well. And so AP Classroom, that through the College Board is a great resource for that. Students are all signed up on there already. And so they're going to have the opportunity to start doing a little bit of work with multiple choice just to give us a head start. And that way, when I do return, we've started looking at multiple choice. They can start doing a little bit of work with more of the formal rhetorical analysis through there, plus with the stuff that's already going to be on Google Classroom. They're going to be in really good shape. So again, continuing work, notebook by staying curious about the world and then adding in new elements like the AP Lang argument style questions we've been working on, rhetorical analysis that we've already started to work on, and then we'll start blending in some new things as well, plus the multiple choice. Your students are going to be in really good shape. Those are going to be 3 busy weeks. And I'm excited for that. And that's going to help us just really go ahead and jump off as soon as I return. We'll get set up before Thanksgiving. And then when we come back, we've got so many good things coming our way. And I'm excited to get to all of that. For those of you who were willing to take some time to look through the video I sent out a few weeks ago, just introducing you to the course, we talked about these big 4 goals: to be better readers, better writers, better critical thinkers, and more engaged and informed citizens. In the 3 weeks plus 2 days that I'm out, your students are going to continue this work. They are still going to be reading core texts interesting essays and analyzing those. So they're going to continue to work towards being better readers. They're still going to be doing plenty of writing in their notebooks, plus some extension writings that they are going to be doing. They will continue to be better writers. They're going to continue to be critical thinkers through both of those, through reading and watching and listening to interesting texts and writing from those, all of which, of course, help us become more informed and engaged citizens. That notebook work plus what they're getting in Google Classroom is going to help them. Now, this, of course, is not to say that I am totally replaceable. And so there are going to be some lulls in what we would normally be doing. That's where you come in. It's where I need a little bit of help from you. So these are kind of my big things I continually come back to. As far as the reading, share what it is that you are currently reading, what you're finding interesting, what you're finding to be challenging. I think those are important conversations to have. And certainly do that with your reading, as I said. But if you're watching the debates, or if you're coming across interesting articles, or you hear something, on the radio, talk about those things. Those discussions matter. On the flip side of that is to ask your student about what he or she is reading. You know that starting next week, they're going to be finding 2 interesting texts that they are writing from. Ask them what those 2 texts are. That's a great way to find out if your students are doing the work of, so what are you reading, or what did you listen to, or what did you watch for your notebook work, for your contextual pools? That's what we call it. We want to build our contextual pools that we can pull from. What are you doing to deepen your contextual pool? What were the 2 texts? You're going to know right away whether you get a bunch of or whether it's, actually, I kind of watched something interesting, or I found an interesting article on. You're going to know really quickly. So open up that discussion. Use the contextual pools to help you there. As far as when they start doing some writing, one, ask to hear what your student's working on, even if it's just a rough draft in their journal of their contextual pool. Ask them to read it to you. I think that's a really interesting kind of move that they can make. And as we start getting into some more formal things and they start working on rhetorical analysis, even in some very low risk ways, what a great chance to say, hey, read it to me. You do not need to be an expert. They are good enough readers and writers at this point, and we have set the groundwork where they'll start to notice some of their own inconsistencies. That's what we want. That's good writing in the first place anyway. So be the sounding board for them, and that'll set them up for success. If your student is looking for feedback, start just with summarizing. You could do that tonight. Your student is working on an essay that's due at the end of the week. Start that process right now and say, hey, like, tonight or tomorrow or maybe Wednesday after you take the SAT or the PSAT, read your essay to me. Or can I read it? Summarize their points. And they're going to know really quickly of, yep, like mom, dad, whoever it is, like totally got what I was going for. Or they're going to be like, no, you missed this. That's a great chance for you to say, ooh, I did miss that. You might need to make that a little bit more clear. What a great way for your student to find out whether their intent came across correctly. So ask if they'll read it to you so you can hear it. They're going to find some things. Or if they don't feel comfortable doing that, ask if you can read it, summarize their points. That's going to go ahead and help them in a major way as well. And as far as any reading, whether it's of their essay or if it's of an article that they come across for their contextual pool, or if it's something that, that I gave out, you do not need to be an expert. Just have that conversation. And if you can do that, I think we're going to be in really good shape. And that's our big picture goal. So even though I'm out for these 3 weeks and 2 days, these big 4 goals still remain the same. And I'm excited to see how students seize these opportunities. I'm going to do my very best to not get bogged down in email too much. I also don't want to come back to too much paperwork, but some of you, tennis parents specifically, have given me some very stern talkings too about needing to take this time off and that I'm not going to get this time back. So thank you for that. You know who you are. And I will do my best to do that. But your students are set up for success even while I'm out for these 3 weeks and 2 days. And I'm excited to see how that goes. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to me this week or next week. I also hope to see you at parent-teacher conferences on Thursday. And consider having your student log in as well. You two can be sitting right next to each other. And I know at first they're going to say, I don't want to go. Or they might even say, Mom, it's called parent-teacher conferences, not parent-student teacher conferences. It is so nice to talk with them rather than about them. please encourage your student to join you for parent-teacher conferences. It would be awesome. So folks, thanks for taking the time to watch this and letting me catch you up a little bit on my life and paternity leave, as well as what it is that we've been working on and what we will continue to work on. Your students are in good shape, I promise you that, and I'm excited for the work that we have ahead of us. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you on Thursday night. Take care.